About climate and water, we've talked about the caste geography, the caste and water earlier. Sainath mentioned it. I will just add to that. I worked on cyclones in Orissa, Tamil Nadu, and fisheries in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka. And what is interesting is this caste geography also shows up in relief, rehabilitation, and resilience. And this is really related to water and landlessness. There is, in multiple places, I found that relief reaches the Dalit, the landless farmers last. We may collect after every cyclone, there are these collection drives, and people send relief to these areas, but it is very important to map where it's going. Oftentimes, it goes to the areas which are already privileged in rural areas, within rural areas. And there are places in Tamil Nadu where trucks have been blocked from going to the most needy areas, which might be the Dalit or SC/ST areas. So it's very important to kind of make that understanding that that affects relief, which in turn pushes these people into migration, which in turn also affects their long-term resilience. There are families I found in Orissa which were impacted by the 1999 super cyclone, which took 10,000 people. One of them was named Pralay, which is so ironic. He was born during the cyclone in 1999. He's like around 20 years or so when I met him. He went to Pondicherry to work as a migrant laborer, and there he met, he faced Cyclone Gaja. So there are entire families which have witnessed not one or two, but multiple cyclones, multiple levels of displacement over and over again. And so when we talk about water, we haven't really talked about water-based disasters that much, only floods. But cyclones, I come from Chennai, and I've seen 2015 was floods, 16 was cyclone, 18 was again cyclone, 20, 21, 20. It just goes on and on. And in Chennai, we are all part-time weathermen. We all look at we have 1 week of cyclone and we map it like crazy. Everybody follows the weathermen, the IMD compares notes, because it really shifts our lives. Let's also remember that the East Coast is more vulnerable, but the West Coast is more populated. And there are 308 cyclones that happened between 1891 and 2006 on the East Coast alone. And 103 severe cyclones, 103 of them were severe, and on the West Coast there were 48. And 24 of them were severe. But this is increasing according to the IPCC, and we really need to look at what we are doing for long-term planning and not just relief. We pride ourselves on evacuating people, but we are not looking at what happens 5 or 10 years down the line. But for example, Chennai had 6,000 lakes and reservoirs around Chennai, and now around 2,100 of them have vanished. So what happens when the rainwater comes? It's not able to drain out into the sea. And it's very important to map that, how cities are developing. I live in Bangalore now, and it's the same story. The other thing when it comes to resilience is what are our social protection schemes. And Shreya very rightly mentioned the lived realities in between, right? Between the being a victim and a champion. And this is where I mapped like the impact of heat waves and Narega. And Narega actually provides 50 extra days of work in disaster-affected areas. But what was interesting is water-based disasters, that is cyclones and floods, get allocation for those 50 days sooner than heat-based disaster, that is drought, which take a long time to be declared. So it's important to kind of remember that heat is also an intrinsic part of, when we study water. And this is a picture by Palani, and I will end with this. Palani was mentioned yesterday. He's a fantastic photographer. And we did this with the Pulitzer Center. And again, it was mapping the fisheries sector and heat-exposed labor in India. When we talk about heat waves, we really need to talk about what's happening to people who work in these sectors which are heat exposed, who do not have access to water or infrastructure which may make their lives easy. So that's it. Thank you so much.